Good evening and welcome to a very special 8th edition of the Springdale One City Pregame Show, brought to you for the first time by the Springdale Athletic Foundation. I'm Zach Arns, the voice of the Springdale Bulldogs.
And I'm Brad Spurlock, your new voice of the Harbor Wildcat football team.
On tonight's show, we'll cover last week's matchups as Harbor traveled to Rogers Heritage to take on the War Eagles and Springdale took on Bentonville West at homecoming. We'll also sit down with both coaches to talk about their plans going into tonight's game, as well as take a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to put on one of these productions every Friday night. We've got so much to do and so little time. The Springdale One City Pregame Show starts right now.
Join us now in the studio to kick things off as new head football coach for the Wildcats, Aaron Dannenhauer. Coach, I want to welcome you to the studio this morning.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. So, Coach, getting right into things today, you're into your 6th game now, and how would you evaluate the progress of the team?
You know, I think we've come a long ways. You know, there's been things that we've obviously got to continue to get better at. But I love what our kids are doing and where we're at. We're working really hard. We keep focusing on ourselves. You know, we got to focus on ourselves, continue to clean ourselves up, as we say. I always say, you know, a championship program, they don't worry about who their opponent is. They worry about themselves every week, right? And so that's something we're doing. Our kids are fighting really hard. Our effort is great. They're hungry. You know, we're coming off of a good win last week.
Yes.
You know, and so now it's just we're just got to keep getting better, as they say, right?
Absolutely. And, Coach, as we look into the season, you know, you have faced some strong competition thus far this year. So after you evaluate the team's progress, I mean, what do you see some things that they're doing well, maybe some things that you guys can improve on?
You know, things we're doing well, like defensively, we're flying around to the football. You know, I think earlier in the year we struggled still learning, like as in, you know, we had some breakdowns in the back end and things like that. But against Bentonville, we really didn't have many, you know, coverage breakdowns. And then against Heritage, well, they didn't throw the ball very much, so we didn't find out too much about that. But when they did throw it, we were ready. But I think the thing we've learned that we've gotten really good at on defense is we will hit you and we will fly around and be a physical defense again. I mean, I've seen guys just fly to the football. There's the clips. Even when they broke a big run, we talked a lot about as a team on Mondays when we come back as a team meeting. We'll talk about what are the big plays, the plays that we can build on. And one of them, even though they broke a big run, when you span, you see all 11 bodies flying to the football. Sion Wilson gets them from behind, takes a great angle, and then when you span from the end zone, you can see literally all 11 dudes flying to the football. I mean, a lot of guys would just stop. And we didn't have that.
Right.
And so we can continue to build on that. You know, that's effort. And offensively, I think the biggest thing we always saw as we continue to say is we've got to get better up front. I think we're really young on offense. You know, we have a young offensive line, our quarterback, running back, juniors, most of our receivers. And I think that's something we have to continue to work on. We know we got to be able to run the football.
Right.
And against Heritage, I think that was our step. Like, we're going to be able to run the football and dominate the line of scrimmage. And we did that. We did that better. And that's just something we got to keep cleaning up. You know, we got to find ways to run the football, manage the clock, especially against, in our conference right now, some of these explosive offenses that are in that conference. And I think ours can be one. You know, as we continue to make those steps up front, our offensive line is getting better. Like Monday was our first, you know, Monday's your first install day. Yesterday in practice was our best Monday, you know, so I'm excited about that.
Right. You know, as we've looked at this past game against Heritage, you know, we talked about maybe some unsung heroes a little bit, and one thing that I kind of caught along with Coach Bray was Will White come out of the defense and how well he played. So do you see any unsung heroes, so to speak, and if you have, how do you motivate that going forward into this game?
You know, Will White's definitely one of them on defense.
Yes.
You know, and even like I think Sion Wilson at corner, some of those extra plays, just the extra effort plays. You know, not his assignment, things broke down, but he flew to the football and wasn't going to let him have a touchdown. They were going to have to earn it, you know. I think there's been some year. I think up front we've had some. There's got, you know, D linemen go unrecognized all the time, like in that, especially in that defense, right, or that offense, I should say. I mean, they're just 3 yards in a cloud of dust,
yes.
man. I mean, like, and so like Ken and Teff, there was a play we recognized where Ken and Teff came off the ball, jacked the center. He didn't make the play, but he jacked the center back, tripped up 2 pullers, and then here comes Will White and Siler Moore and,
Yes.
you know, close it down. And so there's been guys like that, you know, and I think that's what we do as a team is we try as coaches when we meet on Sundays, we talk about what are the plays, again, that we can go back, focus on and say, here's 8 plays in the game that made a difference and that we can build on is what we always tell them. And so we do that, you know. Offensively, you know, I would say our tight end play has been like, you know, Jack Gilder is one of our he's not much of an unsung hero anymore because he catches the ball, and I mean when he does catch the ball, or we handed it off to him this last game.
Exactly.
Like they don't like to tackle him.
Right.
You know, he's so physical. He's physical in the run game, blocking. He's physical in the passing game. People have to know where he's at. You know, Tracian Wright's having a heck of a year too.
Yes.
And he's not really an unsung hero anymore either. But just all our receivers are doing a pretty good job on perimeter. Like we talk a lot about blocking for your brother on the perimeter, right?
Exactly.
Everyone's going to get an opportunity, you know, at some point, and you got to be able to block for your brother. So I think those are some things we continue to talk about, build on, and things of that nature.
And so, Coach, as you're looking at this, going into your first battle with Springdale here, you know, there's a lot of excitement that goes around here. So how do you channel these kids and get them focused on this game and kind of get them ready for what's going to, because there's a lot of history built in here at Springdale. You know, now we've got the one Springdale focus that we have, but also there's 2 teams out there battling. They'll be battling for playoff spots. So how do you get these kids focused on this game?
That's what we talked about. We talked about it just being another game. Like as in you can't, yes, it's a rivalry game. Yes, it's against Springdale, but like I say, any championship program, they talk about themselves. They worry about themselves. I said, we're not going to change what we do for who we play. I think that's a big deal. Like Coach Lunny Monday morning, my mentor, Coach Lunny, he called me and was asking me how I felt, what do you do? And, you know, he goes back to his Southside, Northside days of that. And he goes, it's always tough. You know, kids, they want to make it such a bigger deal than just playing football. The game of football doesn't change on Friday night just because of who you're playing. You know, the team that blocks better, that tackles better, takes care of the football usually wins the game. Right. And so just going to things like that. We talked a lot about it when we're at practice this week. We're focusing on, you know, obviously their scheme. We have to know their scheme, but how we execute and how we do things. You know, to me, that's the biggest thing. When I was at Bentonville West came about. That became their big, you know, a big deal. And sometimes kids would, you know, they just get excited. They, as you would say, lose their mind a little bit over this. And you're like, guys, play football.
It's football.
It's football.
That's
Let's
right.
play football.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, and, you know, you're talking about things maybe to correct a little bit. We've talked about maybe at the beginning of the year and actually probably throughout the year, slow starts, seeing some penalties, maybe some turnovers, things get corrected. So I know that's probably one thing that you're going to look at. What are these kids you're trying to correct to move forward, maybe sharpening up a few things for this week? And why do you see this?
Yeah, and so offensively, the biggest thing we have to clean up is taking care of the football and have a fast start, right? Against Bentonville, we started fast. We were down there, and then we didn't finish the drive. You know, we had a penalty that brought us back. And that's what we talked about. You know, I like to run. We run a little extra for penalties, especially pre-snap penalties, pre- and post-snap. You can control pre- and post-snap penalties. Sometimes you can't control a hold, a judgment calls by a ref. It's going to happen. But we had, even this last game against Heritage, we had 3 pre-snap penalties, 2 on offense, 1 on defense, that we just can't have. Right. So we clean up those, and we talked about turnovers on offense. Like we didn't turn the ball over at all against Bentonville, and then we turn around and we right off the bat.
First play.
Oh gosh, you know, against a team who's just milking the clock. Right. He was like, oh. But overall, and then on defensively, it's really just we've done a really good job the last few weeks. I thought defensively, and our staff has done a really good job of just, hey, let's redo that play, do it again. We got to see it. We have to execute and know our assignment, know our keys in the back end, know our keys at linebacker. Because the effort part, that hasn't been what we've, you know, it's been let's clean up some of the details, the coverages or linebackers fits, and they've really accepted that and done a really good job.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you know, going into this game, like I said, it's a big rivalry game this week, but is there anything else you'd like to share, let the fans know about what's going on this week?
Man, I think the biggest thing is just to show up, have a little fun, because it's going to be a fun game. Springdale's a good football team, well coached, Coach Hobbs does a great job. I have a lot of respect for him and his staff. And I just think the whole one city, because here's the truth. I think this is truthfully what's neat is coming in, you know, obviously I haven't been here until now, so you don't know what the last few years totally looked like. But I'm hearing and I look in the stands against Greenwood and Bentonville and I see a packed house. I mean, people fired up for football.
Yes.
And so now you have 2 football teams from the city of Springdale in one spot. And that's why I told people, I was like, it's Springdale. Like, people want to see, Springdale is football and football is here and they want to see good football. So I just say, I think you're going to see an exciting brand of football on both sides of the ball. Come out and watch because these kids deserve it and it'll be fun.
Coach Dana Hire, we would thank you once again for being here with us today and appreciate your insight on the game.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed being here.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Coach Dan Hire, and thank you for joining us right now. But coming up shortly, we've got kickoff for the game, but in the meantime, students from the Harbor High School took to the field for a little field kick showdown. We want you guys to take a look at this.
Hey guys, it's Elia and Addie. You might be wondering what we're doing right now. We're stretching. We're about to kick a field goal with some people from our team and Harbor's kicker. We'll show you how it's done. Let's go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 to the side. 2. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Hey, that wasn't that bad. Yeah! What the freak? 1. Okay. They need to be smaller. Oh.
That feels wrong. Ready? A long time ago. I have 4 years of eligibility left in my NCAA career. So if any schools out there need a kicker, you can find me at ltapia@sl.org. So.
That was only a 10-yard field goal. Let's try 40.
That was really good. Clearly I need to just stick to TV. And I need to stick to tennis. Make sure to stay tuned for kickoff at 7. For WCSN, I'm Elia Shell.
And I'm Addie Farmer.
Thanks for watching.
My name is Adobe, and this is my Chick-fil-A success story. When I started as a team member, I was pretty shy and struggled with my confidence. And now, that same shy person, she owns her own Chick-fil-A restaurant.
Accidents are never planned. But no matter how small, every emergency that involves a child is a big deal. It's everything. That's why we're here. Arkansas Children's Northwest offers the only pediatric emergency room in Northwest Arkansas with fast access, pediatric experts, and kid-sized care. Peace of mind when you need it most.
Goodbye, guessing. Hello, confidence. So long, stress. Hello, security. Farewell, running to the bank. Hello, banking from anywhere. Get a quick view of your balance, block lost debit cards, and quickly deposit checks anywhere, anytime with the highly rated Arvest Go mobile app from Arvest Bank. Goodbye, limits. Hello, possibilities.
Hometown. That word still means something here. It means we're neighbors. We do the right thing. We care about your family. And you deserve the very best every time you walk in the front door. Harps. Hometown Fresh.
I'm Don Strubing. It's because of the generosity of people like you we are able to fully support the Fuel and Feed program. For this, we thank you and appreciate your help. I support Springdale Athletic Foundation because they care about our student athletes.
My name is Zach Arns. I'm voice of the Springdale Bulldogs. Thank you for donating to the Fuel and Feed program. I support the Springdale Athletic Foundation because they care about our student athletes.
The Fuel and Feed program raises money to help pay for pregame and postgame meals for kids and coaches. In addition, we raise funds to buy athletic footwear for the students to compete in. I'm Donald Tucker, Executive Director of the Springdale Athletic Foundation. Please take this time to help our students and coaches. Visit the link on the screen to donate now.
On behalf of Springdale Schools Athletics, I want to say thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Welcome back to the Springdale One City pregame show. I'm Zach Ards, the voice of the Springdale Bulldogs. He's Brad Spurlock, the voice of the Harbor Wildcats.
Well, Zach, and I will let you know, it's been an interesting start for the Harbor Wildcat team this year. There's a lot to build on as they've hit the midpoint of the season. But now it's just a rivalry on the field. Both programs are evolving off the field with some fresh faces leading the way.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch these two teams sort of evolve in the last couple of years. Springdale, when Brett Hobbs came in, sort of re-identified as, Springdale football. We're going to ground and pound it. We're going to do. You're seeing a lot of that with Coach Dannenauer this year. Totally different mindset than we've seen the last couple of years. It's tough. It's physical. It looks like Harbor football is supposed to.
Absolutely. And talking with Coach Dannenauer at the very beginning of the year, that was one thing that he wanted to talk about his team, get better in a mindset of ball control and maybe use some up-tempo when they have a chance. So the kids have bought into this. We're seeing a different brand of football. The kids are excited. Everybody's running to the football. So we're seeing a different mindset out of these kids.
There are no off weeks in the 7A West, and that's one thing I think we all know as you cruise through this conference. This is one of those games I think you circle. These two teams, you say they don't like each other. I think there's a little truth to that, but these are two teams that have been competing against each other since they were in fourth grade. That rivalry now hits the big stage under the lights on Friday nights.
Absolutely, and when you stop and think about this game a little bit, Springdale and Harbor, their records are basically mirror image of one another, from the overall record to the conference record, who they played, who they've beaten. And so I think this is going to be determined a lot on the playoff race going forward. So we're definitely going to see, and that's going to be the excitement, that's going to be the build-up to this game to see how well these two teams play.
It's a crazy year in the 7A West.
Yes.
We're seeing upsets in a conference that generally does not have a ton of upsets. This is a huge game, like you pointed out. 2 wins generally gets you into the playoffs. 3 or 4 wins, you're starting to look at maybe a home playoff game. And both of those teams have to keep that in mind. But when I talk to Coach Gerald Williams over at Springdale, or I talk to Brett Hobbs, they all say the same thing. First 15 minutes, man, you just got to keep everything in check. Don't want to pick up any goofy penalties. Don't want to get tossed out of a football game because emotions are going to be running real high.
It's going to be very high, and going back to watch a few games, even on the opening kickoffs, how excited people are, and people get intense in this rivalry. But even with Harbor as well, they want to have ball control, eliminate silly penalties. They want to keep moving forward the best way they can. Ball control. That's one thing we've seen with the game this year is with Harbor is the ball control, running. You talked about Springdale going back to the running attack. Harbor's done a lot of that as well, and so I think we're going to see kind of mirror image of one another.
One of the great things, I've been doing this for 10 years, one of the things I love about this particular game is this is the largest crowd they're going to play in front of. You're going to see somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 people in the stands, not an empty seat in the house, both bands, both teams. It is truly what high school football in the state of Arkansas is all about, and we get it right here in our own city.
Absolutely, and this is the pageantry, if you will, of high school football. This is what you like to see. Like I said, all the fans get into it, and you and I will get into it. Obviously. So, but this is what high school football is all about, especially in the 7A West Conference.
This will be your first trip through it,
yes.
As the voice of the Wildcats, and it is. There's that moment when they get ready to kick off where there's so much excitement. You kind of you want to take it in for a second, and if you can't be there to watch the game, you certainly want to be watching on TV because it's special, and it's special for these kids. Even whatever sport we're playing, Springdale Harbor, that's a special night.
Absolutely, and these kids they may live in the same neighborhood, they may live pretty close to one another, so there's a lot of bragging rights that's going to take place during this game.
Let's talk about Harbor specifically, and new culture, new coach, new coaching staff, new philosophies. Tell me about the Wildcats 2-3 start. It's a little bit misleading. Pushed Greenwood to the edge in that ballgame. Could have gotten that one. It's been certainly a stark turnaround from the end of last year.
The one thing noticed in this team, like I said, the effort that has been going forward with this group of kids. And you made mention of Greenwood. At the very end, these kids played their heart out down to a 2-point conversion. And even after the 2-point conversion, they had an opportunity to throw a Hail Mary, and it just fell short. But other than maybe Bentonville, these kids have competed and played very close. They beat Farmington, they beat Rogers Heritage. So you see the competitiveness, and that was one thing, like I said, talking with Coach Danaher, get buying these kids into this. So it's a different attitude. These kids are really focused on competing the best way they can.
Let's start on the offensive side of the ball. For the Springdale fans that may not be familiar with Harbor, tell me what we're looking for. Who should we watch out for on Friday?
Bryce Owens, leads the way. The quarterback does a great job running this offense. He basically runs out of the pistol formation. But Reed McAllister is the workhorse for this team. A couple of games, even for Greenwood, he rushed over for 200 yards, and so just the bell cow of this offense. Trayson Wright, receiver, he's had some big games along that. So they have a diversified offense, and they'll take their shots. They ground and pound, but they will take their shots on offense. So it's a great multi-look, if you will, for the offense.
It's truly what Harbor football is.
Absolutely.
It's a ground and pound. You can run back through the history of the school, line up, here comes the pin and pull, and they just want to come straight at you. It's fun to watch that offensive line go to work.
Absolutely. And these guys, they've been at it for a while now. This is probably the first time they've went through another coaching change, but these guys have bought into it, so you're definitely seeing some push on this offensive line.
Just some quick film study on the defensive side of the ball. It's a multiple front.
Yes.
They'll go 4 down, they'll go 3 down, but there's a lot of movement, a lot of pre-snap movement. Things that Springdale are going to have. The way their offense is set up, you're going to have a lot of pre-snap calls. It may not be the biggest defense you're going to see in the back 7, but they are active and they are agitated when they get on the field.
And very quick, and they'll hustle to the ball. And Jake Adams, one of the linebackers, also Will White, who had an outstanding game against Heritage. These two linebackers, they fly to the ball, and the whole defense just really just looks for that, and that's what they try to pounce on.
One of the things that is always a key in this game are special teams, and I think Springdale feels very good about their special teams. But Harbor's got, their coverage teams are good. You're going to have to be very good in the coverage game. You're going to have to be able to kick the football. You're going to have to be able to kick field goals when they're available to you. It's going to be interesting to watch sort of that battle within the game.
Absolutely. And one thing you talk about kickoff coverage, whether it's going to be a sky kick, whether it's going to be kicked deep, your special teams, you want to make sure you maintain your lanes, maintain your coverage as you're going down the field. So very important for both sides of the ball.
Talk to me about Coach Dannenauer. He is certainly a stark contrast from what we've seen. This is a no-nonsense guy that I've known for a while and comes from the Bentonville system. Yeah. It looks very similar to what Bentonville tries to do, but it is, at its core, they're going to line up and they're going to run the football at you, and they're going to play good defense.
Yeah, he's been Bentonville 10 years, and he's taken kind of the same concepts from what he'd done from Bentonville, being the offensive coordinator. And he's come down, like I said, been able to sit with him on several occasions. And just like I said, the mindset he's trying to get these kids to buy into, a great man of faith, and he just, hangs on to these kids as best he can, tries to encourage them and coach them up. That's the one thing that we've seen, is really try to coach them up and get the kids involved with what they're trying to buy into.
Last year at Springdale, we had 10,000 people at the football game. It was crazy. Drones flying all over the place. It was a wild scene, but I think we're going to expect the same thing from the Wildcat home crowd.
Absolutely. A couple years ago, they do such a great job of the pregame festivities. Took a couple of years ago, they brought in a helicopter to bring the game ball. So I don't know if we'll see that again this year, but they always try to do something special for these kids. So there's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of build up to this game.
So as we turn our attention to their opponent tonight, the Springdale Bulldogs team, I know a little bit about. For Springdale, look, this is a 2-3 football team. Feels like they let one get away at Bishop Kelly, a game that they had a chance to win. It's a young football team. You're talking about 5 sophomores on that offensive line. But this is a football team that is evolving every single week. The DNA is the same. They're going to ground and pound. They're going to do it a lot differently, though. If you watch the Harding Bison, this is the Harding offense. They just run it from the pistol and the shotgun. The guy to keep an eye on is number 9, Carson Hayter. He makes everything go for Springdale. It's going to be fun to watch him sort of manipulate that Harbor defense. Another guy to keep an eye on is Wilder Larice. He is second, I believe, in the league in rushing at about 120 a game. That is a guy that is growing each and every week, 5'10", 230 pounds, and he comes straight at you.
Yes. And that's what we've seen. You talking about contrasting styles, or maybe not contrast style, but Reed McAllister is kind of the mirror image, I would say, of this. And so he does the same thing, just ground and pound, and just does a great job on that.
And one of the things that Springdale was able to do last year was sort of influence in the option game, and Rancel Oriana had a big game last year against Harbor. He's a guy that hasn't quite gotten it going yet, 62 yards a game or so. He's going to be kind of the key. They're going to give it to Rancel, and it's going to be 2, it's going to be 3, and then all of a sudden it's 34, as we saw against Van Buren earlier this year. Guy to keep an eye on, and a guy that I like a lot in the passing game is Orion Leatu, 6'6", 200 pounds. He's a guy that can go get it, and he's you can throw it high, and if you've got a shorter defensive back, he's a guy that can go up and get it. The shot plays in the pass game, Springdale may only throw it 4 times, but when they do, you can guarantee they're going to be down the field. And that's tell me about that Harbor secondary against guys like Leatu. Easton Hahn leads the team in receptions with 5. But that it's a team that they will, they'll take their shots when they're available.
They do a great job on the coverage on the back end. Grayson Daspit is one that to kind of watch out for. Kanan Costa was there. He got injured last week or the week before, so they've had to do some substitutions in the backfield. But he definitely great. I would say Grayson Daspit's playing that safety position is going to have a lot to do with the corners. Do a great job. Tony Berry does a great job, and they do a lot of man-to-man. Yeah. A lot of man-to-man. So we'll definitely see if that plays a part in what Springdale
I think
may
we're
want
going
to
to
do.
see a ton of that.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, is that you're going to try and lock up those receivers and commit as many people as you can to the run game. Carson Hayter is really good at shaking one guy, and then all of a sudden it's a 45-yard touchdown. Another area we talked about special teams. Springdale believes they have the best kicker in the state in A.J. Woods. He's got 2 47-yard field goals in back-to-back weeks. He's got unlimited range. He can hit it from 60. About 70% of his kickoffs are for touchbacks. They think that's a weapon and something that they can certainly use as the game goes on. It's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to just getting into the booth and getting the thing kicked off and getting going, because as you pointed out, it is a huge game. Somebody's going to be 2-1 in the playoff race after this and probably qualified.
Yes.
And then we're talking about possible home games.
Absolutely. And like I said, my first go around will be excited working with you, but just to look out over the stadium and see all the fans get involved with that, I think that's the great part of high school football.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. After the break, I'm going to sit down with Springdale head coach Brett Hobbs. We'll talk about his plan going into the ball game. Plus, we've got so much more on the way. The Springdale One City pregame show continues. Kickoff's coming up. We'll be right back.
Joe and Larry here with Sam's Furniture. We just wanted to thank you for your business and to let you know that your purchase helps serve so many people.
That's right. The culture here at Sam's is to love and serve others in our community and around the globe. So when you buy at Sam's, part of your purchase goes to support one of the many organizations we partner with.
You enable us to invest in our children, teachers, veterans, development in Africa, and distributing wheelchairs to those in need around the world. You are a part of this. So from the Sam's Furniture family to yours,
thank you.
During the Great Depression, nothing came easy. But with just 5 cents, an old truck, and a load of hay, John Tyson and his family found a way to deliver quality chicken to other hardworking people. Today, Tyson continues to find new ways to help put a chicken in every pot. Because people deserve farm-raised chicken of the highest quality. At Tyson, we remain committed to this simple promise: to always keep it real, to always keep it Tyson.
Goodbye, paperwork. Hello, convenience. Farewell, waiting. Hello, personal service. Catch you later, dreaming. Hello, planning. Buy your dream home, connect with a personal banker, and easily schedule an appointment with digital tools from Arvest Bank. Goodbye limits, hello possibilities.
Welcome back to the Springdale One City pregame show here on Springdale Athletic Foundation Television. Joining us is the head coach of the Bulldogs, Brett Hobbs. Coach, good to see you. Tough week last week, but 1-1 in conference play, and got a rivalry game. We're going to talk about rivalries in just a second, but take me through the week. Talk to me a little bit about getting ready for your crosstown rival.
Yeah, it was a tough game last week. Bentonville West, is a very good football team, and they have some really explosive players. I felt like our kids played hard. Just unfortunately we came up short. But I feel good about this week because I know with rivalry week, what this game represents and everything. I know that our kids are going to bounce back, kind of, last game, next game mentality. And so I think that we flushed last week and ready to go for this week.
And for those who are not familiar, Coach Hobbs is one of the best to ever do it here in the city of Springdale. And your rival at the time was Fayetteville.
Right.
That was a game that you looked forward to. It was at the end of the year. This is kind of the middle of the year, but the attention is still the same. It's your crosstown rival. There are no distractions. Focuses on the Wildcats this week.
Yeah, no doubt. Like you said, our rival used to be Fayetteville, and it was a long-lasting tradition. It was a great rivalry, but this one is special, and it is different because you're bringing the city of Springdale. It's kind of the pride of Springdale and football, and what I feel like that. Especially in Northwest Arkansas and in the state, Springdale was built and made for football. So I think it's going to be, a great atmosphere, great game.
49-21 last year. You guys ran the ball exceptionally well, but now we've got a change on the other side. Coach Dannenauer's in, a guy you know very, very well. Talk to me a little bit about kind of the chess match with him offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Coach Dannenauer. Obviously, I've known him for a long time with his time at Bentonville, and now that he's over here, he's done a great job. He's really starting to turn this program around, especially in his first year. And one of the things that you can always expect from Coach Dannenauer, coach team, is they're going to play hard, they're going to play physical, but offensively they're going to present you a lot of problems. As far as they're going to be in multiple formations, they're going to move some guys around. They use tight ends, multiple tight ends. So it's one of those chess matches where we're going to have to make sure that we communicate well on defense, be able to get lined up, because with all those different formations, movements, those type things, it can present some problems and get you out of position. So our biggest thing is making sure that we're getting aligned correctly, knowing our assignment, and so that way we can continue to play hard and fast.
How do you manage the emotions? I mean, these are still young men that are excited to be part of this, and manage that first 8 to 10 minutes, get that first shot out of the way, kind of get into the game. But in the run up to that, I mean, emotions are running high.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a little bounce in their step throughout the entire week. They're going to be excited about practice. They're going to be practicing hard. But what we try to instill in our players and our team, and it's from each and every week, is the most important game that we play is that next game. And, it just happens to be Harbor this week. But our mentality has always been that. And it is the most important game of the year for us, but not because it's Harbor, but it's the next game coming up. So I know that our guys, it is in the back of their mind. They are going to be ready. They're going to be focused. And we just want to continue that approach in every game throughout the year.
For the fans that are seeing you for the first time this year, Carson Hayter, obviously the guy that makes us go Harding commit, and Coach Johnson and I have been trying to come up with a nickname for Wilder and Ransell, and Thunder doesn't really work. These are big backs, and sort of make this offense go. Wilder's in the top 3 in rushing in the conference. He's one of the best in the state, honestly. And then you add Carson in there. This is a multifaceted offense. And when it comes up, when you have to throw the football, Easton Hahn, your middle linebacker, is your leading receiver, and then you can throw it outside to Orion Laity. Talk to me about like Ransell and Wilder and how they sort of get your passing game going.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have to stack the box with those guys because it's going to be difficult for just one person to bring them down, because they are such big physical runners, but also move extremely well. And that's one thing that I love is, we can get them the ball in so many different ways, on the perimeter, inside, and Coach Hahn does a great job of mixing those things up. And then whenever you have Carson Hayter touching the ball every single time, it does prevent, it has a tough effect for their defense. So with those guys, and then like you said, Easton Hahn and Orion starting to come into his own at receiver. I think it's just a well-rounded offense that you can't really focus on one person.
Other side of the ball, you've got a guy that, when he steps onto the field, he wears 93. That's a big number around here. And Gavin Jones at 6'5", 240, just a sophomore, kind of learning the position. He made a couple of plays last week that made you stop and go, okay, there's a guy coming.
Yeah, absolutely. He's starting to figure things out. And, although he is young, he is mature for his age, and he just continues to get better each and every week. And I think he's starting to get a little bit bigger, from just lifting, the weights that we do during season. I don't think he's done growing just yet. But yeah, he is starting to come along, and with his size and his length, and he's got good speed, I think is going to continue to help us, especially on third down, pass rushing situations, is really going to help us out.
Talk to me about DJ Manuel. He baited Trey Thompson into an interception, kind of laid off, and he's a young guy. That's going to be really good for you in the next couple of years. But this is a guy, 2 interceptions on the season. He's a difference maker, kind of a lockdown corner for you guys.
Yeah, he is, absolutely. And, as a sophomore playing corner, that's extremely difficult because you're kind of out there on an island. You got to have a short memory as a corner. But he's a competitor, extremely athletic, but he understands the game of football. And that really, helps him out, but plays a key role, in his success. And I think just the more he continues to play, the more he's going to improve and continue to make plays for us.
I feel like you and I talk about this every week, but A.J. Woods, another 47-yard field goal, had more than 47 on it. This is a true weapon. He's maybe the best kicker in the state of Arkansas, and we're just scratching the surface with him.
Yeah, absolutely. He has his range, but his accuracy, is really good. But that's what we expect with him because of the hard work that he puts in. He's going to be at a 2-hour practice, and he's going to work on, different aspects of kicking, in everything for 2 hours. And also his punting has been really good for us as well. And having an athletic punter and kicker really helps because he saved what could have been a safety or a touchdown, on a botched snap, but was able to get that off. So he brings so much to the team and to the table, and just like you said, he's a huge weapon for us.
Coach, best of luck. Looking forward to it.
Right.
The Springdale One City pregame show continues. We'll be right back.
Our marching band schedule is pretty intense. We definitely get it going and schedule them all the way back in last May, and then the students have it and families have it through the summer, so they know the scope of what we do throughout the course of the season, hundreds of hours of rehearsal. And so we give it to them early, and then we just work it through every day. We try to get a little bit better.
Routines as a drum major, we help sophomores learn their roles, learn their music, their choreography. We help juniors and seniors if they don't remember, since it was in summer break.
We have a design team that actually creates our drill, the pictures and shapes on the field that we create, as well as like the color scheme and guard flags and hooking up with the band uniforms with props. So there's a lot of aspects that have to be coordinated together. So we've improved a whole bunch with the choreography. We call that body, and so those are the emotions that go with music and relates to how the guard uses their flags, and it all kind of coordinates together. So we are really proud of how far they've come. It adds a lot to the show. There's a lot of excitement when you see 130, 140 kids doing the same thing on the field, almost like dance moves. And so that adds a lot of energy and excitement to what we're doing. Hopefully it's very entertaining and a lot of fun.
When the lights come on at Harbor football, it's not just the players that bring the energy. For nearly 2 decades, the Silver Stars dance team has been one of the staples of game days, a team built on tradition, hard work, and spirit.
The one, the only, your Harbor Silver Stars.
Being on this team has taught me a lot about teamwork and commitment because with dance, you're held to a high standard. You're held accountable not just from your coaches, but from all your teammates and everyone. Even the underclassmen, even your sophomores, your seniors, your friends, your best friends. It's all about teamwork. It's not just a solo sport. It's something that you work together as a team to accomplish the goals.
3, 4, 5, 6.
It typically starts with a practice in the gym where we perfect choreography. Then we go to the field and they learn their hash marks and pay attention to how the routine is going to move on the field, because they really require an intense amount of like seamless transition and a lot of precision.
To prepare for the One City game, we often practice every morning, 7:40 to 9:40. And then we go to the field, we learn our routines, we clean them by count. So our 8 counts are 1 through 8. And so every single count, we're making sure we're on the exact same spot. Our heads are in the same place, just so that we can look super clean and look great to the audience.
A lot of it comes down to the dancers. They have an intense drive and an intense want to be kind of like a spotlight in the community while excelling in their sport.
For the Silver Stars, being part of a Harbor tradition is more than just performing at halftime. It's about pride, community, and leaving a lasting legacy that future Wildcats will continue to hold. For WCSN, I'm Addison Farmer.
Welcome back to the Springdale One City pregame show here on Springdale Athletic Foundation Television, and joining us is Executive Athletics Director for the City of Springdale, Keith Fimple. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Doing good, Zach. How are you?
We're getting through it. A big week for you, not just in a football sense, but we've got other sports going on, other sports out there competing. People kind of maybe zero in on football a little bit, but boy, you guys got a whole bunch of other things going on.
Got all kinds of things going on at this point, and that's what's when you get a district this size, you got. Just even the ones practicing for in the spring. I mean, we're still baseball, basketball's going, practice, soccer. Every day these things happen. But, right now, cross country, we've got football going, volleyball every night. We might have as many as 8 gates going on in different places. So it's a real exciting time.
Let's talk about your staff a little bit, because a lot of folks don't, they see you, but they don't realize the work that goes into to get these events put on. It's not just a turn on the lights and let's go play. I mean, you guys put a lot of work into the behind the scenes portions.
We have 3, great ladies that work in our district, Jenna Kate, Mary Welch, and Christy Wyatt, take care of, just think about having all these volleyball games, football games in the same night. We have to have gates for those. We have to have maintenance guys for those in case something goes on. Then I have Jeff Williams, who works over the Harbor side. Eric Burnett that works over on the Springdale side. So there's a lot of events going on, a lot of different places. So you have to be really in tune on Monday when we have our meeting of what's going to happen, who's going to take care of this, and go from there.
My parents were in town a couple of months ago, and we took them by the football facility at Springdale. We took them by the basketball arena, and I mean, their eyes opened up. It's college athletic. I mean, it's NCAA worthy, and that's one of those things. Like when people come in here and they see the facilities, and the kids get to participate in those facilities. Really amazing the things that are going on. And we're not done yet here in the city of Springdale.
Dr. Cleveland, when I took this job a couple years ago, he wanted it to be athletics front porch. He always talks about that of the district. We knew we had to do some things to update, change some facilities. Of course, Springdale was a large project. People don't realize that whole football field had to move, and the arena coming in. There's some things happening with baseball and softball, and we're trying to really touch everything we possibly can right now with his vision and our administration's vision. So it's working out real well. It's just it takes a little time to get it, going from one project to the next.
It seems like high school sports, college sports for sure, are always morphing and changing, and the rules change here and there. Talk to me a little bit about what it's like for the athletes. You deal with them almost every day. They get they come into these environments, and it's a nurturing environment. But boy, when the lights go on, it's competitive.
It is, and up here right now with everybody, the Bentonvilles and the Fayettevilles, and in our conference alone, even. Everybody's trying to advance this as much as possible with social media, live stream on our games. We try to do every game from 7 through 12, and any football game, any volleyball game. And it takes a lot of work to do that. There's a lot of moving pieces to these large districts like this.
Now, as the athletics director, I've had several conversations about this. I think we've sort of morphed into this era where athletics is a legitimate pathway to college, and the goal as an administrator and as an educator is simply to get those kids to college. And now that we see the facilities and the weight rooms and all the advancements, it's a legitimate way to get young men and women off to college.
They're raising scholarship limits. Now football has several more Division I wise, and any kind of little niche you can get to have your child or your student or our programs as far as social media goes. There's a lot of people that look at those. We're still getting a lot of moving here in Northwest Arkansas. So, it's a battle to have that out there all the time.
It's rivalry week as far as football goes. Now,
Yes.
we've got it in other sports, but that's kind of why we're here talking about it now. Talk to me about the administrative side of this. Sometimes it can be a nightmare, sometimes it can be a whole lot of fun, but you've got two sides of town coming together.
Well, you want it to always work smoothly, and that we had our security meeting this morning at 8:00 with both principals and our our SROs, our CSSO, and we're working on that as far as that goes. Kids generally enjoy it. They do a really good job. At first, when I first took the job, of course, I've been a part of a lot of great rivalries. Coming from Alma, I had Alma and Van Buren. Then I went to college, and I went to Henderson, where I walked across the street to play Washita. That ended up on ESPN, and then my coaching career, it's been amazing. Been, Fort Smith, played Southside, Northside. I went to Fayetteville, played Fayetteville and Springdale, and now you got this one inside the same community where there's a lot of pride, a lot of tradition that goes into it. And, it's really, you want that to be as smooth as possible. You want it to be a great atmosphere for the kids, because that's really what we're all there for, is to let these kids have a platform to compete for one town.
Now, you're a football coach at heart. You've been one for a long, long time. Now, when you go down on the field and you're going to watch this game, are you making mental notes? Hey, they didn't do this on this play, or are you just there as a fan?
This is the one where generally the athletic director part comes into it. You're walking constantly. I think I walked almost 9 miles last year on the outside, making sure things are smooth, making sure teams are getting to the locker room, referees are taken care of. So I don't get to actually see a whole lot of it. I try to do my best with it, try to make it as fun as possible, where I can get those little bite of, hey, what are we doing on defense, what are we doing on offense, and all that. But generally, I want to, my part in this is to make it a great atmosphere for everybody that comes.
Let's talk about these two head coaches for just a second, because Brett came in a couple of years ago and sort of reestablished the Red Dog culture. He's a throwback.
Well, he's
a Red Dog through and through. And now you're seeing it with Coach Dannenauer. He's really kind of reinstilled that physical nature.
They're two really good teams. Like I said, coach-wise, both staffs are really well. I always look at it like. Aaron's first job was with Chris Wood at Harbor. So here we got a guy that's kind of been through this system, kind of seen, he's been playing, coaching at Bentonville, he's seen how Harbor plays. And then you got Brett over here, who's been a lifelong Springdale guy with a tradition that backs it up. Played for Gerald Williams, Stone, just tough as you can be. And so it always throw out records for these rivalry games. I've been a part of them enough to where, you never know. It's going to come down to 2 or 3 plays. It's usually who can hold on to the ball, who can cause a turnover, who can get the momentum switch, because momentum in these games is huge.
It really is. It really is.
Once you get it switched over, your whole job is to try to get that back into your court as fast as possible, because if it keeps rolling, it'll roll.
Yeah, and now we wait all year for the 10 football games. We're halfway through this. We're getting ready to go down the backside. You guys turn your attention to basketball and all the winter sports as soon as this game's over.
It immediately turns, and like I said, that's what it's amazing to see now in year 3 of everybody. The way they're practicing, the way they're working, and they're not even in season, but we're ready to roll as soon as we get to it, and to see the turnover of it. And again, our office is ready to roll right with them, because we're already setting up for basketball right now as we speak. So
unbelievable. I can't believe it's already here. I know you're excited about it. Tell me what your game day routine will be like.
Well, Friday I'll probably be on the field. I have to get the blower out. I'll roll the field for them. Before that, we'll start going through. We usually close the office about noon, where we can get off a little bit, eat some lunch, because you don't get to eat a whole lot, especially when that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock bell starts to ring. There's going to be people lined up to get there, early to get seats. So it's basically just work, preparation, to make sure everything that, is lined, elevators working, press box has, internet, all plugs checked for electricity, so that everything goes real smooth.
I love it. I appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate
taking some
you
time out of
guys.
your busy schedule. And as Athletic Director Keith Thimple. That's going to do it here for the Springdale One City pregame show. We appreciate you tuning in. Kickoff is coming up right here on Springdale Athletic Foundation Television.